let's talk about what to do when your nervous system just will not relax. Okay, so whether or not you are new to nervous system work or you're starting to learn about it, you're wanting to learn more about it because maybe you have debilitating anxiety or just feel dysregulated all the time, or maybe you just feel stuck in your life and you have felt that way for a while and you're not sure how to break through wherever you felt stuck in your life. Here's what you need to know about this. To begin, regulating your nervous system and having control over your nervous system should be your main priority. If your nervous system is dysregulated, if you don't understand anything about the nervous system, you've never done nervous system work, I want you to understand that you are actually not in control of your life. Okay, so until you actually learn about your own nervous system and how to self regulate, you will not actually ever be in full control of your life. This is a hard truth to recognize, but here's why. If you are not already working with your nervous system, here's why it's actually in control over you. So, your nervous system is designed and wired to protect, it's designed to keep you alive. And a majority of people, I would say 99% of people, aside from the people who are doing nervous system regulation and understand nervous system, they don't realize the actions that they're taking, the habits that they have are being driven by their nervous system. Our nervous system is driven by our subconscious beliefs. So when you decide that you're going to change something about your life or about yourself or about your habits, sometimes you can override your old habits. That's very possible depending on what your beliefs are about yourself, about your identity, and if there's any wounds that are correlated to that specific part of yourself. That is a factor in all of that. But understand that in your relationships, in your career, in your day-to-day habits, how you treat yourself, how you treat other people can be tied back to what's going on with your nervous system. Because if your nervous system is dysregulated, and here's the thing, most people think, not most people, some people think that because they don't feel super overreactive or they don't feel super angry or anxious, they think that that means their nervous system is calm. However, most people have developed a baseline that is actually above where we should be at. They've developed a new baseline that is higher than where we should be, and they think that that means that they're regulated. But actually, we have a whole scale when we think about the nervous system. On one end, we have our parasympathetic, which is our very calm, very relaxed state. And then we have on the other end, our sympathetic, which is the survival, fight or flight state. And unless you're intentionally working with your nervous system, you are more than likely not at your parasympathetic fully. You're somewhere here, or for some people they're here, or for some people they're here. And this impacts our window of tolerance on what we can handle in our day-to-day life. So if you haven't done any kind of regulation, self-regulation, and you aren't super in tune with your body, understand that there's always going to be certain areas of your life that you don't actually have control over. Because if, let's say, you are sitting in the middle somewhere with where your nervous system is at, it's going to constantly be manipulating your actions and behaviors to that feel safe. And your nervous system is calibrated to your beliefs and an identity that perceives things a certain way. So even though you can be introduced into new information or a new habit that you want to adopt or a new venture in your life that you want to explore, for some people, it may be more challenging to do that because their nervous system is calibrated to a certain identity and to a certain belief. So it's always going to be manipulating our decisions to keep us in that state that it's already calibrated to. And that's why, for some people in certain areas of their life, it feels like they're just running around in circles, not getting anywhere. They feel like they're stuck in some areas of their life, and it ties back to the nervous system. It's because the nervous system is manipulating their decisions and their actions, even though they're consciously saying that they want to do something else. But if the nervous system doesn't feel safe, doesn't feel regulated when you're starting to do that, it's going to manipulate your decisions, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. So, this is why nervous system work, self regulation should be a priority for you, because this will actually help you get unstuck in the areas of your life that aren't the most alive for you, the most fulfilling. Because as human beings, we actually can have everything that we desire. We're created and designed and to create the life that we desire, like deep down. But we're existing in this animal body that has a lot of other factors going on. And if we don't understand how the body is operating and what it's doing, then our desires can't always come to fruition, because deep down, like, our nervous system is calibrated to fear-based beliefs, and it's doesn't feel sometimes it doesn't feel worthy of having the thing. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it's capable or possible. So recognize that when you learn how to work with your nervous system, you're actually going to be able to create the life you desire in all areas of your life. It is very possible for every single individual to have a fulfilling, peaceful, love filled, joy filled life in every single area. It is 100% possible. So, if you are new to regulation and working with your nervous system, then I would start with looking at different somatic techniques, different body work, and breath work. Those are really great places to start learning about how to actually regulate your nervous system. Um, and this is also something that I teach in my body of work as well. I am a somatic practitioner and a spiritual mentor, and a lot of the work that we do inside my containers and inside my sessions is nervous system regulation and nervous system mastery. So it's first being able to really regulate and understand where your body's sitting at and how to actually bring it down to a super calm state. And then being able to really master the nervous system as you begin to stretch yourself and shift your identity into more of who you truly desire to be. So, if you are interested, I do have a 7-day nervous system reset that basically introduces you into self regulation, different techniques that you can start applying literally today that don't take a ton of time. You can do them on your work break, you can do them before bed. They're really super easy to start to introduce. So if you're new to it, or if you just want to start exploring more about nervous system work, this is a great place to start, and it's only $7. So I'll be sure to link that below. Now, the other thing to recognize when our nervous system won't relax, what we need to understand is that we first need to regulate. And that's why I started with this, is that that has to be a priority, because if you're dysregulated, your your perception, your ability to see things for what they are is going to be distorted. It's just going to be distorted, and your ability to handle it is going to be distorted. So that has to be foundational. But the next level to that is recognizing where you're giving away your energy. So it's one thing to give away your energy and then be able to have the self awareness to recognize that you're giving your energy away to something that you cannot control. So, an example of this could be maybe, um, maybe you are at work and you heard that there's going to be a bunch of layoffs happening in the following month or something, and your nervous system is so dysregulated from hearing that news, from not knowing if you're going to be someone who is going to be laid off. One way to handle this, and it really does depend on how much nervous system regulation work you have already done prior, but one way to handle this is to literally be like, I cannot control who gets laid off. I can't control that. Therefore, I'm not going to outsource my energy to something that I can't control. And instead, I'm just going to embody trust. And for some people, they're able to actually make that adjustment. They are able to actually have that conversation with themselves, recognize that they are giving away their energy, they're outsourcing their power to something that is completely out of their control, and they're opting into the belief that everything is not working out for them, when in reality, everything is always working out for you. Everything is always working out for you, regardless of if it's a challenge that comes into your life or something that stretches you. If you choose to see it that this is working out for me in the long run and choose to trust it and trust that it's working out for you, that this is a benefit to you, then your nervous system is never going to be a problem. And ultimately, that's the goal that I teach women in my world is you get to have it all and things are always working out for you. And let's have that mindset, that approach, and embody trust through every single situation in life. And this is how things rapidly start to shift really quickly in a good way for them. However, let's say that you did have that conversation with yourself where you recognize you're outsourcing your power and your energy to something that you can't control. And even though you tell yourself, hey, I would prefer to just allow what's ever going to happen and ride the wave of that and trust that if I do get laid off, God will reveal to me the next thing that I need to do. He's already got it solved. Like the problem has already been solved. All my job is to do is to listen and receive, and take action where I'm being guided to next. Let's say you had that conversation with yourself and you still feel dysregulated. Now, this is an indication that there is some kind of fear based belief that your body is still calibrated to, that we need to actually address and move through. So, it's what you want to recognize is, are you hitting resistance? Because you may experience a challenge and then you feel dysregulated or you feel an emotion come up, but you recognize it, you catch it, and you pattern interrupt it, and you are able to let it go in that moment. And sometimes that will work. However, if it doesn't and the feeling still persists, we actually need to face what is going on underneath. Because when you don't face the thing that is persisting over and over again, you're essentially resisting what your body is trying to communicate with you, what it's reflecting to you. Hey, this is a belief that we're still holding on to that we really need to let go of in order to move beyond this. So, this is data, it's just information that is being given to you that you can still work with. Just understand that your belief system is still holding on to it, and we need to actually work with the belief system to move through it so that it no longer feels like resistance in your body and you're no longer feeling dysregulated with your nervous system. So an example that I can give it with this in my own life is, um, this was almost a year ago, where, well, more than a year ago, I invested in a mentor, a business mentor, and I put it on a credit card basically. And this credit card was one of those credit cards where you don't have to pay any interest for up to like 12 or 14 months. Well, I had done that and I was trusting that because I was divinely led to work with this coach, that I trusted that the credit card was going to get paid off. It was going to get resolved and I didn't need to worry about it. And for a while, I was able to get away with that because it was in the beginning months that I had my new credit card. But as time started to uh, go on, I started to feel a little more dysregulated that, okay, what if I'm not able to pay off this credit card by the time interest hits? then I'm going to be like really dysregulated and really in a pickle. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I tried the first technique, which was basically to not give it my energy and just say, no, like it's okay, like it's going to get taken care of, blah blah blah. But my nervous system said something different. My nervous system was still holding on to the feeling of anxiety and worry. Therefore, I knew I needed to actually face it head on, because at that point, if I didn't, then I was just avoiding it. I was just resisting what was persisting. And that wasn't going to help me either. So, what I ended up doing is I actually took time for myself to really journal about what it is I was afraid of and allow the fears to come to the surface. And I was really like going all out with this. I was really peeling back the layers of what am I really afraid of here. And it was like, one thing I would write is like, okay, well, let's say I can't pay off this credit card, and then all of a sudden, like, more and more debt is getting added on to me, and I am like not able to catch up on payments, and all of a sudden, like, the debt just racks up like this major pile, blah blah blah. And as I was like allowing that to come through, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm gonna like financially ruin myself and financially ruin my husband, and my husband's gonna resent me, and like all of these things. So once I really got to the core of like what I was truly afraid of, which showed me, okay, like if all of that happened, that my husband started resenting me, and um I just have like this major pile of debt that I can't pay off, I'm financially ruined. At the end of the day, like the core belief was like, I could be rejected by the people in my life that I love, and that I wouldn't have money, basically. And when I took a look at that and asked myself, okay, well, what does that even mean? Like, if my husband really did leave me over something like this, then at least I still have myself. And in this moment, I can choose to love myself. So you can start to see that some of the core beliefs and wounds were coming from this place of, I don't even love myself fully, because if my husband were to leave me over something like this, then I would feel unloved. I would feel unworthy. But that's not true. That's a fear based belief that, oh, I don't deserve love over this external situation that happened. So I was able in that moment to give myself the love and imagine, if that happened, how could I still love myself through it? So you can see that I'm slowly taking back the power and energy that I was outsourcing to other things. And ultimately, deep down, my core essence just wanted to feel loved no matter what happens. Basically, I have my back no matter what happens. And at the end of the day, my mindset is, I plan to build a business and build a life full of impact and full of serving. And I've shown myself enough times that I am willing to do the work, and I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to pivot when I need to pivot. And I realize that even if I rack up a bunch of debt, I know that I would never give up in finding a way out of it. I'm just so driven that I plan to build an empire and a legacy with my business. I just know that that's something that I plan to do. And even if I never achieve it, I will die trying. And knowing that that is my essence, that even if I hit bankruptcy or something, or, something financial happens to me, if I know that my end goal is like, I'm never going to give up anyways, then what does it matter what I experience in the in between? Because if anything, if that happens, I'll learn something even in a deeper capacity of how to build my resilience and maybe get myself out of that position. So it was really just understanding myself on a deeper level as well. along with, learning to love myself, learning to um, parent myself in a situation that felt really, really scary. But also, again, it was understanding myself in a deeper capacity that, okay, if the worst thing imaginable could happen, I would still rise from it. I would still rise from it. I would still overcome it. So therefore, I have nothing to be afraid of. This could happen, but I would still rise from it. I would still learn from it. I would build my resilience, and I know that I would still rise above it. Therefore, the fear no longer had its power over me. It didn't have this weight hanging inside me anymore because I faced the fear. I imagined the worst thing that could ever happen and basically allowed myself to experience it before it ever happened and recognize how I would move through it after experiencing it. And therefore, it took away its power because it was no longer this like what if thing. Instead, it was like, okay, let me actually imagine experiencing this. And I felt it in my body. I felt the fear in my body. I allowed that to amplify. I imagined as if the worst thing happened and I just hit my rock bottom. And then it was like experiencing that, it's terrible. You're crying and it doesn't feel good. It feels really uncomfortable. But then eventually that fear kind of starts to dissipate and it starts to like go away because you're like, okay, I faced the fear. Now what are we going to do? And all of a sudden it loses its power over you. So you can see how you have to be able to discern what your body is asking you to move through in those moments and how to shift your energy. But this is something that you can begin to do and implement into your life anytime you're really worrying about something that you have a hard time letting go. Understand that there's a belief that your essence is ready to let go of and it's calling you to let go of, but you have to be willing to face it. You can't just ignore it and then just like suppress it and bottle it up. That doesn't do anything for you. So recognizing when that's coming up for you, and also just understanding that you don't have to worry about things that haven't happened yet. I know we spend a lot of time doing that, and that's what I mean is the first thing of asking yourself why you're giving something your energy and your power and just being able to let it go because you don't know the outcome and you can't control the outcome. You can only control how you respond. So you don't have to be worrying about a lot of the things that you're worrying about, and instead you can just embody trust and go with the flow of where life takes you. But again, if it's something bigger, then you face the fear head on. I guess I'll just add, going back to my story, is after I faced that fear, I think it was a month later that I received enough money in my business to pay off my credit card. And that's what happens when you recognize when you're not in a frequency of trust and surrender that things are going to work out for you. When you're not embodied in that, the miracles and the blessings and the answers can't be revealed to you. They because you're blocking it with your negative energy, your negative frequency. And that's why it was so important to me to move through that, because I knew that if I stayed in a negative frequency and a negative energy, that I'd be blocking the answer, or I'd be blocking the thing that was going to solve my problem. And through that, it helped me remain in a positive, trusting state. Therefore, a month later, the problem got resolved. Like I said, our problems are always resolved before they even happen yet. But if we don't remain in a state of trust and receivership of our problems getting solved, then we end up blocking the thing and the problem just manifests into something worse. So if you found this video helpful, then you need to download my identity recalibration training. It's completely free. And what this will do is it will start to teach you how to go through the process that I just talked about. It'll give you different questions, different journal prompts to help you identify the certain fear-based beliefs that you're holding onto, that your body is ready to release and let go of. It gives you a guided meditation and energy work to actually release it from your body. It guides your body to let go of these things, and then it walks you through how to recalibrate into your new identity. So this is continued energy work, but you're basically recalibrating your nervous system to feel safe as that new version of you holding that new belief. You have to actually train and recalibrate your nervous system to that new belief, because again, it responds to our core beliefs. So if it's been responding to a fear-based belief for years, over time, we have to actually train it to not um, continue vibrating and responding that way. We want to train it to respond in a different way. So be sure to download that. I'll link it below. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like. Be sure to subscribe to this channel if nervous system work, brain rewiring, embodying your soul essence is the path that you are on right now. You need to be following and subscribe to this channel, because this is where I talk deeply about that. And be sure to check out the next video that comes up on the screen for you.